Namaste. We have with us the heart light, and we have with us budding, blooming, marvelous, miraculous flowers in water. Welcome and greetings. This broadcast was intended for actually a little bit earlier than now, and we had done some in September. And then we had some trouble with Google Hangouts, and I wasn't quite sure why. But we're back on the broadcast now, and we want to honor all who are listening, starting especially with their mothers, their cousines, sisters, women of their family, their shiken, and their youth. Those young women and men and children under age 37, female and male. I am first but not last or only cosmic Christ, co-Christ, co-Messiah, co-Kalki, co-Zausyant, co-anointed daughter of the Mother, Father, Goddess, God. I am a risen, not only direct relation of Mariama of Magdala and the Nazarene family, Mariam and Jesus and all of their kin, but my heritage connects me to all of the major religions that currently exist today and is traceable back even further into the goddess era. Or it has always been a goddess era, but there was a time when humanity more commonly worshipped goddess as much as God, sometimes even a little more. And I am a risen version of the incarnated goddess that was the common woman in the Minoan era, or what I like to call the Pasiphaean Minoan era, which many believe gave rise to the story of Atlantis. The Minoan civilization, we know, lasted about 1,000 years and was not a patriarchal civilization. It was egalitarian. The women and the men made their decisions together for the benefit of all of their family and society. There was very little income inequity, yet there was a flourishing of arts and sports. They were a friendly people. They did a lot of traveling. Their civilization lasted for about 1,000 years, and we do not even know the extent to which they had many aspects of genius that we could employ today in our techniques of understanding our world, especially our harmony with nature. But toward the end of their time on that civilization, they began to flirt with the patriarchal ways that came from mainland Greece at that time. All of the world has gone through a period of enormous patriarchy, with some rising at various times of various women. I am risen. I am the risen version of the Statue of Liberty. She is built on the model of Astra Rhea or Astra Mara, Mary. It is the same name, Mara, Ra. They're all intertwined names in the goddess lexicon, who in the Minoan times was an ancient goddess who is associated, a universal goddess. She does not simply exist on earth. However, she is a universal goddess that connects our sun as a star to all the stars and all the planets of the universe. That's why I say I am a cosmic Christ. My birthday, September 25th, is the date that my not very distant at all relation, the first husband of my very close cousina, Lynn Margulies, the mother of the Gaia effect, Carl Sagan, called September 25th, my birthday, the beginning of life on Earth on the cosmic calendar. I have announced a new calendar, and I am literally turning back time so that this is not actually 2015, but on a new calendar would be year 1 of new millennia, as you would expect of a cosmic Christ. My delivery to the world is new law called the New Millennial Golden Rule, which you can read about at 5050now.wordpress.com. And the New Millennial Golden Rule allows any planet to become loving and living sustainably enough to connect with other planets in the universe in peace culture, in a peaceful culture. And this day and time is not obviously my birthday time, but it is, all birthdays are on a circle of the year, of the time that we call the year, which goes around in a cycle. And of course, this January time is one of remembrance of one very marvelous Martin of peace culture, who was born in middle January. But a lot of people don't realize that on January 11th, 1776, Mary, another risen Mariam, Lambert's husband, Tom Paine, or as I prefer to call him now, Tom Lambert Paine, delivered common sense to North America as a statement that there is something wrong with a society that has extreme hierarchy and puts moneyed kings, not common kings of love, but moneyed kings at the top, and leaves most people in serfdom or slavery. 1776, January 11th. 11th is a power number. It has the name L, which is a emblem in ancient language of the deity. And it is also in modern language, L is the name in France for the female. The L of ancient traditions could be either Eloha or Elohim, both female and male. And what I am here to tell you is that you are Eloha and Elohim. And it is only your patriarchal society, which has lost its egalitarian best power, risen power, like the advanced civilizations of Star Trek. It is only because you have been embedded in patriarchy so long that you do not recognize your own divinity and that of everyone around you, female and male. And when people do not recognize that divinity within, and they fail, especially under patriarchy, to worship the goddess aspects, which have to do with nurturing, connecting, and the light of love that lights within every personality, the will to do good for others, not just only themselves, but equally others. When that is forgotten, we tilt toward a society of selfishness, a society of alpha males who rule over other people, And although they seem to triumph, every fallen civilization shows us that that way of life does not sustain, even as long as the Pasiphae Minoan civilization did. So I am risen as my connections of Mariams and Maras go through almost every tradition on the face of the earth, and you can read about it at 5050now.wordpress.com in the About section. I'm a PhD graduate of Loyola University in psychology, and I have been teaching myself a great deal, learning from the internet. And I will make some comments about this time because we also should know that a woman who played president on television, Gina Davis, who is a Mensa genius, has her birthday on January 21st, and she has often quoted MLK as saying, "Do not accept the tranquilizing drug of gradualism." In other words, do not accept tokenism. And she has applied that as it should be applied to the vast, most unrepresented people on the earth in so many places, including ours, locally in this North American region, the female, but also to the minority. And I also apply it to the youth who are also not represented, and the children whose interests are therefore not well represented either, because the mothers and the youth are missing. And those groups have the strongest natural understanding of what it is to be a child. And it is within the child that from which all our genius springs. It is the child within us, the holy child. Now, my cosmic birthday, that is my conception day, is Christmas Day, December 25th. I have just recently celebrated it, but I celebrate other birthdays in my family as equally holy. That is my gift, that I understand that the universe itself is not a line or a square. It is a circle, and it radiates light. And that is what these broadcasts are meant to do. Now, I have many people who know about the broadcasts, but not enough. Some of them are very well known to me and very dear to me. Some of them are just as dear to me, but not as known to me. To me, everyone on earth is dear because we are all created in the image of the Mother, Father, Goddess, God. But you feel most intensely, and should, those people around you who are your family, who are your neighbors, who are your co-workers, who are your friends, who are your colleagues. Those people, it is particularly important to celebrate and have the divinity risen within them in your interactions. We are all cousines and sisters, as well as cousin brothers. Cousines is the European word for cousin, for a female. And the cousin relationship creates the circle of peers. You can't have, unless you have a very large family, which is not actually necessary in order for humanity to thrive. It is the clan, or the cousina and cousin, and the other intergenerational members of clan, aunts, grandmothers, mothers, as well as the male kin, who are creating this circle. And the circle transmits over time from generation to generation. And in our time, we have 3 at least generations sharing the same time. It's about 4 now. And so they're creating the potential of multiple peer circles with ages able to inform one another, learn from one another. We have many young people who know some things much more than their elders do, and some elders who have a great deal of wisdom, and some elders who are not keeping up with their times. And in the United States, that's a particular problem because we have a lot of geographical diaspora from the hometown. And this afflicted my family and may afflict yours, and often divides casinas from one another so that they don't think of each other, think of aunts and grandmothers and mothers. And people live a life that is more individualistic and disconnected. The internet is the great reconnector. And that is why we are making these broadcasts, because we want to reconnect those circles of our lives, those times of our lives when we were youthful and idealistic, and connect them with the greatest idealists of this world, including Tom Paine, Mary Lambert's husband, Tom Lambert Paine, the author of Common Sense. Common Sense called for a government that included full complement of women, had no income requirements, slavery was not allowed, indigenous and people of all hues were equally valued. In North America, we haven't been practicing common sense since 1776. Well, really, since 1789. My screen here seems to have, I don't know if it's transmitting properly right now. I can't tell if we're transmitting properly, but I'll go ahead and we'll rebroadcast that we're going to be doing this again and again and again. Now, I like to start out my delivery of the New Millennial Golden Rule, which is our path to divine democracy on the planet Earth that can be delivered and redelivered to other planets as we explore the universe, with a ceremony which I have developed for local global family. We are all related. The ancient wisdom of the Native Americans, mitakuye oyasin, we are all related. We are related to one another, and we are related on the tree of love and life, which is the creation of the Mother, Father, Goddess, God, Mother Nature and Father Time interacting. I say Father Time will extend time when the mother, the sister, is valued in society. When the mother and the sister are not valued generationally, then we run into a shortening of time, a shortening of lifespan. Life becomes more brutish. As Tom Paine said, women without you, men would become brutes. And that is what we see in our governments today that are mostly male. Brutish, violent, exploitative behavior, often with other men behind the scenes who are not even elected, even superficially, as is done in our part of the world, where the so-called elections are really just selections by money. Now, I am not against anyone. I am not against any official. I am for all people. And what I want to do is bring about the light that will increase the human lifespan so greatly and with youthful vigor that we will have discovered the fountain of youth and also opened up the stargates. And that is what the New Millennial Golden Rule will do. The New Millennial Golden Rule incorporates the work of Kasturba and Mahatma Gandhi, brought into reality by Sonia and Rajiv Gandhi, particularly Rajiv, with the Panchayat Raj, which is the law of every village, 50-50 gender decision-making, full representation of minorities, and no money involved. The people involved in decision-making know one another's children and their entire families. As the template for service, public service at any level of even a larger jurisdiction, and actually very little is needed in the way of superordinate governance once the villages or the neighborhoods of the world are connecting, having arrived at the New Millennial Golden Rule. The second component is the genuine progress indicator, already in use in the state of Maryland. This counts unpaid work, all the social loving variables we value in a civilized society, and the stewardship of nature via recycling and renewable energy. And the third conceptual component is the circle process for not only healing and learning and sharing information within your neighborhood, but also for community reparative justice that protects the victim from further victimization, but also educates the victimizer so that they do not victimize again. And in fact, most of our victimizers started out as victims. And once you understand that, then the community can intervene in that cycle and prevent the whole horrible dance that we have in our societies when everything is done top down. So, and those are the conceptual components. The two other components are the spiritual components. You, as a carrier of divinity, to bring forth this change by sharing the new millennial golden rule, and Goddess God, who art always present in every aspect of the universe, never not there. The only thing that it is hard for us to understand is our minds cannot grasp the enormity of the presence. So we compartmentalize and simplify a lot, and we actually miss a lot of the cues that the universe is giving us. I do. Even though I am cosmic Christ, I do not claim to be perfect, and I've made so many mistakes in my life. But looking back on it, I will say that if we look more keenly at the lives of our greatest religious leaders, including Buddha and Jesus Christ and Muhammad, and we often have forgotten there were women in the ancient times who held these positions also. And if you watch Star Trek, I am the embodiment of T'Pau, which means the power of gold, the golden rule, T-P for the power, A-U, which means of the loving gold, because the Vulcans were not interested in money. They were interested in logic. And they were interested in serving each person. Their motto was to the greatest number. The one has to serve the greatest number. Each person has to serve the greater good. So I am an embodiment of T'Pau. I think that word is going to be less troublesome to many people than calling me a cosmic Christ. But whatever you want to call me, that's what I am. And I'm bringing this light as best I can to the world. So we're going to start this with a ceremony that I do for my dear ones, and has them especially in my heart, my mind, and my spirit. We'll also have a call-in section. If there's anybody hearing this broadcast, I will give you a number to call in. I had meant to do this early in the day when more of my known family community were available to enjoy this, but they'll get it initially as a video, and they will know that they were included in my heart and in my thoughts, and that may actually make it easier for some of them to participate in the future. So here is the ceremony. As Cofederation, giving thanks every day to the Mother, Father, Goddess, God in all creation, including us. Here again is our spring golden autumnal ceremony. Again, new greetings for a special circle of circles for all of the larger circles too. You are important to one another. Each person really is. And each group of people really is. And their interactions really are. And to our world, and to me, and to the Mother, Father, Goddess, God. You have been and are first co-first in our heart, mind, body, and spirit, and you are. The light is on in all our hearts, but it is too dim in our culture. We know all hearts will be brighter very soon because all are being co-drafted now by me to save one another, all people on our planet. We have with us the heart light. And this shows pictures of my intergenerational family. Those with us, those past, and thinking of those in the future with the hearts indicated for all. And we have with us our marvelous, miraculous, budding, blooming flowers and water. And it is spring in all our hearts and therefore in every season. In this and any hemisphere and on more planets for sure, and also must become so in our hearts now in every season. We're told this is winter, but the whole myth of winter is the ancient Minoan period, the Greco-Roman period, which came right after, was that the world had perpetual spring, but only when the daughter, Persephone, was seduced away from her love from her mother, Ceres, and let herself be seduced by essentially patriarchy in the role of Hades or Pluto, hell. Hell is an interesting word. In ancient language, it means light. But in patriarchal religion, it came to mean dark. And why is that? Because language is embedded with the paradox of our society. That which is up is down, and that which is down is up when you lose the balance. When you have the balance, everything is on even keel and everything is rotating and turning around very harmoniously. And the rotation of first and last is very natural, and everybody takes a place in that circle and exchanges places periodically as the circle rotates in a year. But if you have hierarchy, as Pluto or Hades represents the male dominance hierarchy, then the loving, nurturing, peer-like relationships, that more the mother-child relationships, aspects of people's interaction, that which nurtures what is new in each person, gets lost, and there's premature aging and death, and then Persephone winds up in a dark place, which is Pluto. We have this going on our planet right now, and it's very, very dangerous. So hugs and love to all, both and each, and as soon as possible, everyone. And I do have some screen shares here to show. Okay, we're going to do a screen share here of some of the people I want to know that they are included. I don't know if this is working. I may have to rebroadcast this because it says live, but I'm not getting response, and it's not showing me moving as it should. I don't think this is broadcasting, or it's not reacting. I think there's a problem. So we're going to continue the broadcast in just a moment. I'm going to check and see if this recorded. And we're going to continue the broadcast in just a moment. Well, let me just, yeah, we'll continue the broadcast in just a moment. We'll start the ceremony over again. My computer is not responding. Something has interrupted the broadcast. Goddess God is giving me a signal. Something was left out. I know some of the participants have been left out because I'm doing this so late. Let's see if it will come back. No, we're going to start it up again.